Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are tackling a feeling that I think is going to be uncomfortably familiar to a lot of you listening.
Mm-hmm.
You're sitting there, you got this incredibly powerful AI tool open. Maybe it's early 2026, the models are faster than ever, and you type something in.
You hit enter, you have all these high hopes.
Exactly. And the result that comes back is just,
Well,
it's mediocre.
it's beige, it's generic, or even worse, it's confident but completely and utterly wrong.
Yes, that's it. It's that moment of deflation. And the immediate reaction, and I know I've done this, is to blame the bot.
Of course.
You would think, oh, this model isn't as smart as the hype said, or,
Yeah.
I guess AI just can't handle this yet.
But we have a stack of sources today that suggest the problem might actually be sitting in the chair, not on the server.
It is a tough reality check.
It really is. We're looking at a fascinating series called The Art of Articulation by a writer named Johan Steyn. He's an AI thought leader who writes a lot about tech and business. And in this one piece from January 2026, the new literacy is telling machines what you mean. He makes a claim that just flips the whole narrative.
Which is what?
He says we've been misdiagnosing the problem with AI adoption entirely.
He calls it the articulation gap, right? Which, I mean, it sounds a little academic, but the implications are actually pretty brutal for the average worker.
Brutal, but also clarifying. For the last few years, we've heard all this chatter about the AI skills gap.
Oh, yeah, constantly.
HR departments are panicking that people don't know Python or they don't get neural networks. But Steyn argues the real barrier, it isn't technical knowledge, it's expression.
It's the ability to translate what's in your head into words a machine can actually act on.
Precisely. So, to put it bluntly, the new literacy isn't code.
It's telling machines what you mean.
You got it. And what's so compelling about Steyn's take is that he's seeing this play out right now in boardrooms, in training centers, all over the world.
You're seeing it with executives, right?
Yeah. Yeah, people with 20, 30 years of experience, brilliant strategists, brilliant at their jobs, but they completely fail when they try to use an LLM.
And not because they aren't smart.
No, not at all. It's because they've lost, or maybe they never even developed, the skill of precise instruction.
So that's what we're going to roadmap today. We are going to unpack why prompting is actually a terrible word for what we do.
And why Steyn thinks we should just banish it.
Yeah, and how using AI is effectively holding up a mirror to your own messy thinking, and we'll look at the specific, durable skills that employers are desperate for right now.
And spoiler alert, none of them involve learning to code.
Not a single one.
It really starts with understanding the history of how we even talk to computers. Steyn describes this huge paradigm shift in the interface itself, and I think if you miss this context, you miss why this is so hard for people.
Yeah, I found this historical framing really, really helpful. I mean, if you think about computing for the last 40 years, what was the deal?
The deal was that humans had to learn the machine's language.
100%.
Right. Think about the command line. Or even early Windows. If you wanted the computer to save a file, you had to know exactly where the save button was.
You had to learn the menu hierarchy, the syntax. The burden was all on you, on the human, to bridge that gap to the machine.
You were essentially learning a foreign dialect, the dialect of file, edit, view, options.
And if you clicked the wrong button, what happened? Nothing. Or the wrong thing happened. It was totally binary. You were either right or wrong.
Exactly. It was rigid. But now, with large language models, we have moved to what he calls language as interface.
So you don't click a sequence of buttons to get a marketing plan.
No, you just say, write me a marketing plan. The machine translates your intent into the output.
Which sounds like a utopian upgrade. I mean, the barrier to entry just drops to zero. My grandmother can type, give me a cookie recipe, just as easily as a data scientist can.
And that is the trap. That is the double-edged sword Steyn identifies. Yes, the barrier to entry is zero. Anyone can type into a text box. But the requirement for clarity has gone through the roof.
Ah, I see. When you had menus, the software kind of guided you. You couldn't really go off-road because the menu options limited your choices.
Exactly. Now, there are no guardrails. It's an infinite canvas. If your intent is muddy, the output is going to be muddy.
And this is where that articulation gap comes roaring in. Steyn mentions seeing these high-level professionals struggle. Why is that? Is it just that they aren't used to typing?
No, it's much deeper than typing speed. It's about how we communicate with humans versus machines. Think about it. When you delegate a task to a colleague you've worked with for 5 years, you can be incredibly vague.
Oh, totally. You could say, hey, can you handle that report like we discussed?
And they know what that report is. They know the format you like. They know you hate the font Comic Sans.
And they know I need it by 5 p.m. They have all that shared context.
They have a shared history. The machine has none of that. It doesn't know your history, your preferences, or the office politics. So when these executives type a vague request like, draft a response to this email, and the AI gives them something generic, they get frustrated. But Steyn argues they're frustrated because they are being forced to articulate things they usually leave unsaid.
It's almost like the AI is calling their bluff. It's saying, I can't read your mind, so I'm just going to give you the average of what everyone else thinks.
That's a great way to put it. It exposes that they might not actually know exactly what they want. They know the vibe of what they want, but not the specifics.
This leads us to one of the most actionable parts of Steyn's work. He just goes to war against the word prompting.
He hates it.
He calls it a party trick. Why is he so down on prompting? I mean, prompt engineering is the buzzword of the decade.
Because words matter. The word prompt suggests a nudge, a poke. It implies you just give the machine a little kick and it does the work.
It trivializes the interaction.
It does. It sounds like something you do to a stage actor who forgot their line. Steyn says if we want professional results, we need to stop thinking about prompts and start thinking about briefs.
A brief, like a creative brief you'd give to an ad agency, or a scope of work for a contractor.
Precisely. If you hired a contractor to build a deck and you just said, build me a deck, what would happen?
I'd probably get a bill for $50,000 and a deck made of material I hate, facing the wrong direction, probably blocking my back door.
And you'd have no right to complain because you didn't brief them, you didn't do the work.
So what does a good brief look like, according to Steyn?
It's not magic, it's just structure. A good brief defines the goal, the audience, the constraints, the format, and this is the crucial part, what good looks like.
I want to drill down on this because he cites Microsoft's specific guidance on this, their Copilot framework.
Right, the 4 pillars.
Yeah, let's walk through them because I think this is the aha moment for our listeners who are just tired of getting garbage outputs.
Okay, let's do it. The 4 pillars are goal, context, expectations, and source material.
So let's role play this. Let's say I need an email written. A bad prompt, the party trick version would be, write an email to my team about the new sales targets.
Right. That's garbage. The AI will write a generic, polite, probably overly long email that says, hey team, let's hit those targets, go get them. It's useless.
It sounds like a generic motivational poster.
Totally. So let's fix it using the framework. First, the goal. Write an email persuading my sales team to adopt the new aggressive Q3 targets.
Persuading.
Yeah.
That one word changes everything.
It changes the engine. Second, context. We missed Q2 targets by 10%, so morale is low, but we have a new product launching next week that should help. Now the AI understands the emotional landscape.
That's huge. The morale piece completely changes the tone.
Exactly. Third is source material. Use the attached PDF of the product specs to highlight 3 key selling points. Now, it's not just hallucinating features, it's using your data.
Okay, and the last one.
And finally, expectations. Keep it under 200 words. The tone should be empathetic but firm, and use bullet points for the key dates.
The difference is night and day. One is a vague wish, the other is a clear set of instructions.
It is. And notice something. That didn't require any Python code.
No.
It didn't require any prompt engineering tricks like act as a world-class copywriter. It just required you to actually know what you wanted.
Structured thinking made visible. That's Steyn's phrase.
It is, and that's why this is so difficult. It forces you to organize your messy thoughts before you hit the keyboard. Most of us use the typing process to figure out what we think.
Yeah.
AI demands you think first, then type.
There was that article he referenced from November 2025. They were pretty blunt about it. They basically said prompt engineering is a myth.
They did. They said it's largely just good communication. It's not some mystical technical fluency. If you can't write a clear meeting agenda or a clear project scope for a human, you certainly can't do it for an AI.
The AI just exposes that weakness faster.
Instantly. Which brings up a bit of a painful self-reflection moment for all of us. If you are struggling with AI, it might mean you're just a bad communicator. Yeah. Steyn calls this the mirror effect. And I think this is the most psychologically interesting part of his whole analysis. The AI is a mirror.
How so?
Well, large language models are designed to be helpful. They are, eager to please. So if you leave gaps in your instructions, if you assume something is obvious when it isn't,
A human would stop you. They'd ask a question.
a human would say, hey, did you mean the Q3 targets or the Q4 ones? The AI won't. It will just confidently fill the gap.
And it usually fills it with hallucinations or just total fluff.
Right. It hallucinates because it's trying to bridge the gap your bad communication left open. So when you see an output that is overly confident nonsense, that is a reflection of your own vagueness.
Vagueness in, genericism out.
That's it. It's a tough pill to swallow, isn't it? It's easier to say ChatGPT is hallucinating than to say I failed to provide the source material constraints.
That's easier.
And Steyn brings up a really important point about language here, specifically referencing South Africa and multilingual environments.
Yeah, this was fascinating. He says the language you speak matters less than the clarity of your thought.
Right. Modern models are incredible translators. You can prompt in isiZulu, Afrikaans, French, Arabic. It doesn't matter. The model understands the semantics.
But if your logic is flawed in French, the output will still be flawed.
If your reasoning is circular in isiZulu, the output will be circular. You can be grammatically perfect in English, but if your brief is weak, you lose.
Clarity is universal. Logic is universal.
The challenge isn't the language itself, it is the precision of the task framing. You can't hide sloppy thinking behind a language barrier anymore.
Okay, so let's talk about the stakes here. Because right now, someone might be listening and thinking, okay, so I get a bad email draft. Who cares? I'll just rewrite it.
Right. But Steyn argues this is becoming a career-defining competency.
How so?
He references a piece from mid-2025. It highlights that AI literacy, specifically this ability to brief and articulate, is a top skill employers are looking for. And they aren't looking for it in the IT department.
They want it everywhere. Marketing, HR, operations, legal.
Everywhere. And it's not just about speed, it's about risk control. Think about it from a business leader's perspective. If you have an employee who gives vague instructions to an AI, you get wasted time because the work has to be redone.
Sure.
But worse, vague instructions can lead to accidental policy breaches.
Like uploading sensitive data because you didn't specify the privacy constraints.
Exactly. Or generating brand-damaging content because you didn't define the tone guidelines. Steyn argues that clear instructions create a shared language for quality.
So if everyone knows how to brief the machine properly, the organization gets consistent, high-quality output.
And if they don't, it's just chaos. Prompt literacy is actually a form of quality assurance.
That's a great frame for it.
It is, and organizations need to treat it that way. Steyn compares it to Excel literacy.
I like that analogy. It feels very grounded.
It works perfectly. You wouldn't hire a finance manager who didn't know how to use a spreadsheet, right? But more importantly, you wouldn't just trust a spreadsheet because the numbers are neatly aligned in columns.
Right. You need a human who understands the formulas, who can spot an error, who knows what the data means.
Exactly. If a spreadsheet says you made $1 billion in one day, a skilled user knows that's an error. An unskilled user celebrates.
Which brings us to the other side of the coin. If we are relying on AI to do all the drafting, what happens to our ability to think for ourselves? There was that report from late 2025 that raised a huge red flag about education.
The uncomfortable implication. Yeah, this is the part that worries me as a parent. The report found that learners are genuinely concerned that AI is eroding their study habits.
And their ability to solve problems independently.
The fear is that they're using AI as a shortcut, not a partner. They aren't briefing the AI. They are just outsourcing the thinking.
And if you outsource the thinking process entirely,
you lose the ability to judge the output. Steyn points out this massive irony. Writing, reasoning, critical thinking, these old school humanities skills that we spent years telling kids were useless compared to coding.
they're suddenly the most important technical skills in the world.
Exactly. For years, the mantra was learn to code, learn to code. Now, the syntax of coding is being handled by the AI. The human value add is, can you construct a logical argument? Can you spot a fallacy? Can you verify a fact?
Because if you can't think critically, you can't supervise the AI. You're just a passenger.
And that is the core of the solution Steyn proposes. In this new era, the human job shifts from being the maker to being the judge.
The editor-in-chief.
Yes. You are no longer the junior copywriter churning out the first draft. You are the editor. You have to verify, refine, and take full responsibility for what the machine produces.
And that requires what the source calls durable skills. What does that mean exactly?
Steyn references a white paper on this. A durable skill is something that won't be obsolete when the next version of the model drops next month. The specific button you click, that will change. The model name, that will change. But the skill of evaluating an output, The skill of framing a problem, the skill of balancing human intuition with machine logic.
Those are durable. They last.
Exactly. So stop chasing the hacks. Stop looking for the top 10 magic prompts on social media.
Because those are perishable. The skill of articulation is permanent.
Right.
So let's circle back to practical advice. If a listener wants to get better at this tomorrow, not just thinking about it, but actually doing it, what's the first step?
It's slowing down. That's the counterintuitive part. AI feels fast, so we rush. We treat it like a search engine. Quick question, quick answer.
I'm guilty of that.
We all are. The advice is to spend 60% of your time on the brief and 40% on the refinement. Most people spend 5% on the prompt and 95% trying to fix the mess it created.
That's a great metric. Shift the effort to the front end.
And adopt that Microsoft framework. Goal, context, expectations, source. Literally tape it to your monitor. If your prompt doesn't have those 4 things, just don't hit enter.
And don't be afraid to treat the AI like a junior employee who needs guidance.
A very smart, very literal, very eager junior employee who has absolutely no common sense. That is the mental model you need.
If you wouldn't send an email to a human intern saying, just do the thing, don't send it to the AI.
Exactly.
Steyn's closing takeaway really resonated with me. He says, we are moving into a world where language is the interface to work. This makes communication a technical competency with real consequences.
He nails it. The people who are going to thrive in this economy, the ones who get the promotions, the ones who lead the projects, they won't be the tech wizards. It will be the people who can explain what they mean, provide the right context, define what good looks like, and then verify the result.
With calm, professional judgment. It's not about hype. It's not about fear. It's about literacy.
And if we can do that, AI becomes a tool that actually lifts our productivity rather than something that just degrades our thinking.
Before we sign off, I want to leave our listeners with a thought to mull over. We've talked a lot about how AI acts as a mirror, exposing our sloppy communication. So if AI is forcing us to be more precise, more structured, and clearer in our language just to get our work done, is it possible that the rise of machines could actually make us better communicators with each other?
That is the hope, isn't it? That by learning to brief the machine, we stop sending those vague, frustrating emails to our human colleagues too. We start defining our goals better in meetings.
Or do we lose the ability to think without getting a digital draft first? That's the danger. But hey, that's why we have these deep dives, to keep those critical thinking muscles sharp.
Absolutely. The machine drafts, the human decides. That's the balance.
Thank you for listening to this deep dive into the art of articulation. Go forth, articulate clearly, and we will see you on the next one.
Goodbye, everyone.